In Jo Nesbo's book The Bat, we meet Harry Holly. Harry's come to Sydney to help in the investigation into the murder of Inga Holter, a young Norwegian girl on a working holiday in Australia. Harry's welcome to Sydney, the home of the flying kangaroo, and Andrew Kensington, an Aboriginal police officer with the Sydney Police, is there to meet him. In the car park, Harry tries to get into the driver's seat of Andrew's Toyota. "We drive on the left here," says Andrew. Andrew drives to King's Cross and drops Harry at the Crescent Hotel on salubrious Bayswater Road. Oslo's chief constable, not known for her largesse, seems to have made an exception here. The next day, Harry heads off to see Neil McCormick, the head of crime for Surrey Hills. McCormick tells Harry that he was to have been working with Watkins, but the Kensington's a good man. On their way to Watson's Bay, Andrew takes Harry to Circular Quay to see the Opera House and the Harbour Bridge. An unsolved murder in Sydney of an overseas visitor is a threat to the tourist industry here. January is the tourist season in Australia, and Andrew explains that everyone comes to see the Sydney Opera House and to go on boat trips around the harbour and admire the women on Bondi Beach. "Shame you've got to work, Harry." Andrew takes the New South Head Road through Double Bay en route to Watson's Bay. He tells Harry, "We call it double pay." They climb the steps to get a view of the Gap. This is where Inga's body was found. It's the tragic site of many suicides, but the autopsy report shows that Inga was killed before being thrown over the Gap. Looking across the harbour from the Watson's Bay wharf, Harry gets a view of Sydney town. They then head to Doyle's on the beach for lunch. Doyle's, established 128 years ago, is still a favourite venue with SydneySiders. They choose a table in the shade, and Andrew tells Harry he's been told to spend a bit of the force's entertainment budget. Tasmanian scallops, a bottle of Rosemount Chardonnay, what could be better? Harry walks along Glebe Point Road. He's going to number 54 Hereford Street, the house where Inga lived. He wants to check out her room. Inga's landlord, Mr. Robertson, tells him that he told Inga not to take the route round Bridge Road and the fish markets when she came home late at night. Harry wants to explore the route that Inga may have taken, and he heads along Bridge Road to the fish markets. The fish market on Blackwattle Bay is one of the most popular venues for SydneySiders. Heading across the old Pyrmont Bridge, Harry asks Andrew where they're going. "To the circus," says Andrew. They're going to the Powerhouse Museum, the old Sydney power station where Otto's circus troupe are performing. During the 50s, the Powerhouse was home to Sydney's fleet of trams. When the trams were phased out, it was converted into a museum. The vast space makes it an ideal home for locomotive number 1. Now restored, the locomotive is on permanent view in the grand entrance hall. A guillotine is rolled out, and Harry sees Otto's performance as Louis XVI. Backstage, Otto gives them a history of the Jandachowski circus in Australia. The sun had gone down as Andrew and Harry drove along Oxford Street to the Albury Hotel where Inga worked. They passed Green Park, thought to have been named after Alexander Green, the hangman at the old Darlinghurst jail. Harry meets Birgitta Enquist. She's been in Australia for 4 years and she's been working at the Albury for a year. Birgitta takes Harry to the Sydney Aquarium. She knows Ben, the watchman, and he lets them camp overnight. At the Albury, Otto gives Harry tickets to the circus at St George's Theatre on Bondi Beach. Harry goes to see McCormick to arrange a visit to the Sydney morgue. From the window, He sees the Royal Botanical Gardens with bats, the Aboriginal symbol of death, hanging from the trees. Andrew and Harry go to Lithgow to see the Jim Shivers boxing team. Toowoomba is one of the boxers. Shame it wasn't 100 years ago. They could have taken the zigzag railway. A flying visit to Nimbin, looking for Evans White. Andrew says that anyone who remembers the Aquarius Festival wasn't there. Andrew meets Harry on Bayswater Road. They go to see Teddy Mongarby, a King's Cross pimp, and he introduces them to Sandra. They're trying to get a lead on Evans White, and Sandra says that she does remember him from round the cross. The next morning, Harry takes Sandra for breakfast at the Bourbon. Eggs Benedict, Harry's favourite. Otto becomes a suspect, and Harry, Leby and Watkins go to Bondi to see him perform in the circus at St George's Theatre. A coffee before the show at the Lamrock, overlooking beautiful Bondi Beach. A short stroll along the promenade to the St George's Theatre. They're on the hunt for Otto. Otto's dog is the Catalyst, and McCormick orders Harry, Leby and Watkins to bring Otto in for questioning. They plan to arrest him at the end of the show, and if he tries to do a runner, they have all doors covered. McCormick farewells Harry, telling him he'll send a report to the Chief of Police in Oslo. At a bar in Woolloomooloo, Harry asks the waiter, "What's a black snake?" Jim Beam and Coke, he says. "Make it a double." Harry, 3 sheets to the wind, heads past the Café de Wheels on his way back home. He's lost, but climbing up the Macalone steps from Woolloomooloo, Harry finds himself in posh Potts Point. He strolls up Chalice Avenue to Macleay Street. This end is quiet, but it livens up when he gets to King's Cross. A chance meeting with Sandra. Harry propositions her, and they head to the Crescent Hotel, the start of a big night. Harry's kicked out of the Crescent Hotel and he makes his way to the Bourbon for a hangover cure. Harry heads on over to the Springfield Lodge, but Jo sizes him up and says, "No room at this inn." But he relents when Harry tells him that Greg at the Bourbon had sent him over. Harry's drunk. Birgitta won't see him, and Joseph lets him sleep over at the Green Park gazebo. Evans White is seen as a suspect, and the CID team set up a meeting with Birgitta to try to trap him. But when they find Birgitta's handbag in Green Park with the radio transmitter in it, they realise they've failed. A box of waterproof matches that Toowoomba gave Harry is the clue. Toowoomba's got a yacht. The team head to Lady Bay to see if the boat's moored there. Yes, it is, but no one on board. What they find alarms them. The anchor's dropped and Toowoomba is missing. Back at police headquarters in Surrey Hills, Toowoomba's mobile phone is traced to Pyrmont and Darling Harbour. Harry phones Toowoomba and identifies the background noise, splashing water, the Sydney Aquarium. The team head to Darling Harbour and Ben guides Harry to the Salties pool. The chase is on. Harry is Walla, the young warrior, and Toowoomba is Babur, the snake who must be killed.